watch them drink themselves sober, but they'll act all drunk and Egyptian. That's what I think.
Maybe it's an ancient beer.
Prop
Maybe
man.
it glows in the dark.
Prop man placed it here. Good job. Good job, Harvey. And the one I like the most, Skank Fragment. I think that's really good. Confucius say, man who tills land by day, better off plowed at night.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
Season 3 is raging on.
So we did a thing.
Uh-huh.
We saved a baby bird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I found the baby bird and then I screamed for Mark like it was a medical emergency.
It was for the bird.
Yeah, I found a nest on the ground with a hole in it, and I was watering my plants, and a few paces later there was this little, he kind of looked like a plucked chicken.
You did. So we named him Perdue. Yeah.
And then we put him in a nest.
We put the nest back in a bush. Well, only we knew where he was.
And it's kind of good because he had it was like a little fir tree. So he had kind of a branch over his head in case it rained. And, we talked to him and we checked on him every day. Yep. And then there was this giganto fly.
It was one of those, like it looked like the cover of Led Zeppelin 1. It was on the verge of death. So I finished it off and I went to go, got like a plastic fork and I went to go give it to Perdue and I didn't know if he was going to take it. And it was like Jaws. He went, rah.
It was like, feed me Seymour.
Yeah. He was like, I'm here to be fed. So I was like, I don't have any more flies. So I think mom found him. Yeah. He was plumping up every day. We looked at
every day he got more feathers. Every day he was plumped up. Sometimes he was sleeping and sometimes he was awake looking at me like, that's the crazy lady that tried to give me cat food.
That's right. You tried to give him cat food.
Yeah. He took about a mouthful of that and was like, lady, bird.
Yeah.
Seriously? So
there's no hesitation with the fly though.
No.
And the day that he decided to take off, that morning I came to see him and I was going to scritch him on the head and I reached down and he went, feed me. And I was like, oh, I don't have anything.
It was very death
He was
metal.
not interested in scritches.
It was very death metal.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like Jaws. Yeah. So yeah, he and then we got home from work and he was gone.
So he will live on through our Edgar Allan Poe birdie.
Yes. If we find any more chicks falling out of trees, we will rescue them, and now we know what to feed them, and we'll have no fly problems in the house ever again.
Find baby bird food. All we needed was flies.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'm a big Twilight Zone buff.
Yes.
You actually bought me all the DVDs, which was nice because I had them and they were lost in the divorce.
I do love the men who run around and how they do treat women as second-class citizens, and all of them, because I love that old black and white.
I love 50s and 60s technology. I love that they're all wearing hats. I love the things they say. But anyway, this particular show was in an apocalyptic setting that I watched the other day, and it's the state is this big evil. I suppose you like the Nazis. They had these like insignia on their collar, and they were putting people on trial for being obsolete. So reading has been banned. So the state is putting a man on trial. It's Burgess Meredith plays the librarian who is on trial for obsolescence. So it's a good show. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll tell you what, I think it would have been better if he had rounded up a group of character witnesses. And it should have been telex repairmen, blacksmiths, switchboard operators, milkmen, and clock winders to testify on his behalf. That would have been much better. So obsolete.
Are shoe shiners obsolete these days?
Remember the shoe shiner on Police Squad?
Oh, yeah.
Or no, it was Police Squad.
They're just handing money back and forth.
Yeah, that special youth powder, the youth cream for Dick Clark. Yeah, it was great. They say the greatest thing on Twilight Zone, a lot of 50s and 60s show, like, lame brain, your asinine jaywalking took 10 years off my life. And there's another one where a guy says, I'll bet that grinning ape is the one that sent me the overdraft notice,
What about Cary Grant when he comes down in that robe and he acts it's this whole comedic situation where he ends up having to put on a woman's robe.
Oh, and bringing up baby.
And they said, why are you wearing that robe? And he says, I just turned gay for a minute. And I think it's far funnier today than it probably even was back then.
Yeah, that's the ultimate screwball movie. Bring up baby. Anyway, so speaking of great phrases, there's some words that we hear that I think need to be retooled. Ass clown, dumbass. I mean, we need some new put downs. And actually, a lot of these ended up sounding like pretty cool band names too. So here's some that I came up with to replace these done to death insults.
Yeah, well, get these all out too. I all the time see people posting on Facebook. Give me a cool name for my black metal band. So maybe pay attention here because it might be yours.
666 a month is all we want. We'll get to that. All right, the first two I came up with were Pecker Grid, and the one I like the most, Skank Fragment. I think that's really good.
Skank Fragment.
She's a skank fragment. Don't pay attention to her.
Yeah, that's a serious diss right there. Not even a skank. You're a skank fragment.
She's a skank fragment. All right, so you can read off a couple.
Oh, why'd you give me this one? Cumsicle? Really?
Cumsicle.
Yeah.
Listen, Cumsicle. I was here first.
That's so much better than douchebag.
It is. See, we need to read.
Who uses douche anymore?
Douchebag has just been so done to death, even by me. So, how about ass parcel? Some ass parcel was sitting in our seats at the baseball game.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I like this one.
What do you think you are? Some kind of harlequin buffoon?
Harlequin buffoon. That's just got kind of a little bit of a literary edge to it.
Yeah, that's so much better than you think you're funny.
Yeah. And then you came up with this one. I like No Friends McGee.
Everybody knows one. Everybody knows one. They're just always by themselves looking sad, possibly plotting all of our deaths. We don't know.
How about Abercrombie and Fitch Witch? I'm having trouble putting that one in a sentence.
How about I was at the mall and all of a sudden I was kind of jostled around by these Abercrombie and Fitch witches.
Place was full of Abercrombie and Fitch witches. They were all just going on and on about getting their hair done. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And then I started to think, well, maybe we could make some nice ones that are actually not quite so harsh. So how about Mother Hugger?
Everybody's a mother hugger.
You mother hugger.
Get out of here, you mother hugger.
That's where if our parents are around, we don't want to offend them too much. Another one. How about look, you're really acting like a goose dazzler. I have no patience for goose dazzlers. So
you take that goose dazzling things out of here.
What are you trying to goose dazzle me? I will not be goose dazzled.
I didn't fall off the goose dazzler yesterday.
That's right. Have you seen my goose dazzler, honey? Hey, I was thinking also, in college, your internship, we talked about on the show before, right? Was at the radio station.
Yeah. I worked at B104 back in the day. And the weirdest thing about that internship, I didn't go there every day. I went there a few times a week. And there was this old lady receptionist. I will never forget it because her name was Saran, like the rat. Okay. She was just Saran. She seemed to have amnesia. And sometimes she would let me pass the desk. And sometimes she would make me sit in the lobby and call up to the director of public affairs, who was my boss, to come get me.
You just never knew.
Yeah.
You should have said.
Really? I've been here months.
You should have come into work and said, look, Saran, I can see right through you. That would have been great.
And she was grouchy too. She wasn't nice. She was,
We've never talked about my internship. My internship was at the Baltimore Social Security Administration.
Ooh.
Translating German letters.
Wow.
People would write letters to the Social Security Administration looking for people. And it was in German, and we were supposed to translate them, and then we sent them off to some other department. And
what kind of letters came in? They had to be pretty.
It's just
it wasn't like,
they were all handwritten, and it was like
I can't find my Social Security card.
No. It was more like it was always a person. It was always I've been trying to locate this person. We were in the war together. I know he's moved to the Maryland area. Here's a picture of him. Stuff like that. Anyway, so we had piles of them, right? But I learned a lot about the federal government in this job because I started cranking through these letters, translating them. And after the first day, when I had I had gotten 20 letters done the first day, and I was only part-time. The head lady kind of pulled me aside and said, "Slow down, cowboy. We're going to go find you a stapler. Let's go visit the office supply cabinet."
Boy.
2 hours. Like we would, and I met everyone on the way, and we made 2 coffee stops. It was just like, pull it out.
You need to learn to work at the speed of government.
Work at the speed of government. I learned about that. I would translate. I would get in there, and I would translate all my shit, and then I just go take walks because I wasn't. But I couldn't tell them that I did it quickly, because I would have gotten a talking to. We're here all day, buddy.
Maybe you should have drawn illustrations after of what the letters were talking about.
I'm sure I was doing like heavy metal stuff too. I was done. That was the era of black metal. Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking about internships. There are some really strange internships out there that are legit. These are all legit. Here's a few. Excuse me. Here's a few. Picking fabric samples internship in Paris. It's for these designer dress companies, I guess.
Really?
You can actually you pick fabrics. So I just thought, what do they call you? A chiffonista? Is that the name? Half of the darling. Half of the darling. Yeah. Or you could call them what? The pattern panel?
Yeah, you got to look through all the patterns and pick out the one that's perfect. I actually used to work for an office supply company.
Mhm.
And part of my job, like, I had to call around and get prices on fabrics, and we were putting together a bid for like office furniture, and they had picked out like their chairs.
Mhm.
And sometimes what they picked out for the top part of the chair was a totally different company from what they picked out for the bottom of the chair.
How did you know that the chair would fit together?
I guess it was just that it was our chair. We were.
Oh, it was just the cover for the chair?
It was the fabric.
Wow,
It was ridiculous.
That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, calling around, getting prices for fabric.
Well, you take the next one. This is a doozy.
How about a Lego toy designer internship? They should call it the Colorful Erector Fun Bunch.
That sounds like a bunch of blockheads to me. Senior citizens can get a flower arranging or tea packing internship under a program launched by the People's Association, whatever that is.
You're such a tea packer.
The Green Bay Packers versus the Green Tea Packers. Interesting. You called it flora frumping or Lipton layering.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that Lipton layering. Another kind of bizarre internship.
Yeah.
The Global Nomadic offers an adorable sea turtles internship in Costa Rica. The shell dweller is unafraid.
Shell dweller is unafraid.
Except maybe for fear of those plastic rings that hold us.
Oh my God. I saw that documentary at the aquarium. I have never not cut one up since I saw that. This poor turtles caught in the 6-pack. Felt guilty for every 6-pack.
I cut him every time.
I cut him every time. Yeah. And I'll close with this one. This is not real, but let's say you were going to intern for the show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay. After you proved your ability to improve their selfie taking, fetch their exotic drinks, and shower them with compliments, if you were the lucky front runner, you become the cunt runner. This has been Unusual Internships with Mark and Stace. Okay. It's time we talk about our feature interview, and it is a great one this week with the legendary King Foley, the man behind Virginia's legendary long-running death metal band, Deceased.
We have a fascinating discussion with King about the history of Deceased that branches into multiple geek outs. I am so shocked by this.
Yeah.
Plus, the story of how this interview came together is friggin' hilarious, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So let's get this show off the ground. Let's play a song from Deceased. This is The Triangle. I look at that handsome lad behind us. My goodness.
Corpse painting before 5 p.m.
He looks so grim and
dark
and yes. But Yes, but I bet he likes to save little birdies. You know, he's conflicted. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. First of all, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell a friend, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and so on and so on.
It's a secret. Don't be selfish.
Don't be selfish.
Share the fun.
The shell dweller is unafraid. Anyway, this week on Patreon, I went and dug up some ancient copies of Rip magazine. Remember that one? Is it still any good? Are the reviews any good? Were the bands any good? We're just gonna have to get over to Patreon and see. I'll go ahead. I'll do a bunch of rock magazine reviews for you all. I think I have some old creams in there too that I've dug up. Of course, tons of Kerangs. But I'm gonna focus on Rip magazine because that's kind of lost in the ether. Anyway.
And I think we should do another blind beer tasting test after if we make it through this weekend.
I think it's a big one, right? So yeah, we really need your patronage. $6.66 a month is not a lot of money. And if you get over to Patreon and sign up, it unlocks all kinds of bonus content that you can't see anywhere else. And this is some funny shit, people. And this is some extensive musical dissection. This is some very intuitive workout tips and chicken abusing recipes. So,
and then I'll put a pink mask on him and make him taste weird beers.
Me in a pink mask tasting weird beers. That's worth $6.66 right there. Yeah. But anyway.
Yep. If you could check us out over there, we would appreciate it. We always try to make this show at least 1% better. # Rebecca Louise every week.
So this week's Snaggle trip, we're headed out to our favorite local antique shop / vinyl emporium called the Bowery of Antiques in Parkville, Maryland.
They've got some wild stuff over there. It's almost like a little American history museum.
Yeah.
Except you can buy the stuff.
I've been there a bunch of times. They have a pretty good vinyl selection for like classic rock stuff. But when we got in there and started actually filming, the density of what they have there, from like, collectible figurines to trading cards to Gunther beer signs to World War I uniforms
to appliances that are now obsolete.
Yeah, to what's the thing? The growlers.
Yeah.
They've got growlers from like the 70s and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And when I was there, he was telling me that a lot of people will point at the growlers and they'll say, "My grandfather used to send me around the corner to fill his growler." That's like my story about getting beer for my grandma. Yeah. So anyway, so here it is. This is us at the Bowery of Antiques.
We are here with Greg Dillon from the Bowery of Antiques and Collectibles. And Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit about how long the Bowery's been around and what you guys do so well?
The Bowery's been in business for over 25 years. I think it's 28 years now, something like that. Been here, I think, 7 years. We were in Fells Point for 25 years before that.
Okay.
We buy and sell antiques and collectibles.
Yes.
One of the oldest ones in the area now, because so many of us closed up.
So what kind of things do you typically look for when you're buying?
It's going to be a wide variety. We're going to try and get a little bit for everybody. So, like I said, it's antiques, so anything that's 100 years older, tools, furniture, that sort of thing. But we also do collectibles, so we do vinyl records.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten quite a few from you guys.
Yeah. Toys, trains, crystal glassware.
I know you have a lot of Baltimore Colts and Baltimore Orioles classic stuff.
That's one of our specialties, is we specialize in local things.
Yeah.
So things made in Baltimore, or Baltimore Colts, Baltimore Orioles, Baltimore Blades, and all the old hockey teams, that sort of thing.
Skipjacks.
Skipjacks.
Yeah. I'm a Flyers fan because we technically don't have a Baltimore hockey team.
Yeah.
They are,
One or the other.
it's better being a Flyers fan than going southwards.
Yep.
Oh, understood.
We'll never rock the red.
Yeah.
So do you have like some kind of expertise where you're able to assess like they do on TV, where you have to look at the value of an item, or if somebody shows you something?
I guess it's just from years of doing it,
You learn a little bit of tricks every day. Something, you have to be open to everything. So the owner of the Bowery, David,
Yeah.
he's been doing this so long, he knows pretty much everything that he can, put his hands on.
Yeah.
And we all give him an assist. Sometimes you've got to be, as I say sometimes, a 5-minute expert. If you've never seen a thing before, you got to learn everything you can as quick as you can. But some things, I know more about 1950s and 60s Barbies than I ever thought I would.
Well, he came and took all my sticks and Survivor records. I was ready to hug the man. I was like, please, just, I don't know how I got these, So, but then it was actually really interesting because I explained to Dave about kind of the grades of vinyl, and I showed him some websites and just kind of give him some tips, and he was really interested. So,
Yeah, this
I'm always available. I'm kind of a vinyl nerd, so and those people are, I've dealing with vinyl, people that are obsessed with vinyl, it's a subculture, let me tell you. And if you make a mistake with those people, they are ready to put your head on a stake. I'll tell you. I had a guy one time I sold a Hendrix record, and the guy, I immediately got an email. This is a club version. That means it was one of those buy 12 and you get one for a penny. Mm-hmm. Well, those are slightly less valuable than the regular records, and so of course I had to give the guy a big refund and my firstborn child and everything else.
Yeah, and the fun thing is people fighting over which version's better, mono versus stereo.
The really big records, like from the 70s, like the Kiss records, it's pages and pages of, this was the Pittsburgh pressing, this was the Tampa, Florida pressing. I mean, that's when they were just huge numbers of vinyl, factories cranking this stuff out, So.
And then the White Album is absolutely just, there are so many different tiny variations of the White Album.
I used to have the 4 pictures from the vinyl up on the wall frame. I remember that. That was in college. You might have seen that when you came by the apartment. Yeah.
Do you do a lot of other collectibles, like coins, or you don't mess with that?
Yeah, what do you not mess with, I guess,
We will take a look at everything.
Okay.
We might not take everything, but we take a look at everything.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But we'll do like a little mini tour through the store, show some of the fascinating things that can be found here at the Bowery. Who doesn't need a giant Swiss Army knife model or a ballpoint pen dispenser? Only 25 cents each. Look at that. And you see miscellaneous sports memorabilia, all kinds of cool posters. You have, what's that, Colts and Bow 7. So there's a lot of Baltimore Colts and Baltimore Orioles retro stuff, mugs, jerseys. And then we have an Asian section. Look at all these Asian dolls. Quite a bit of very expensive Waterford china that we can't afford. And, oh, look at that, a retro Pepsi machine. Straight out of Back to the Future. Take a memo, Bev. And I think we're making our way over to my favorite item, which is, there it is. It's the carousel horse. Who doesn't need one of those in their house? I mean, come on, get real. Look at all the figurines. I mean, this place is just crammed to the rafters with all kinds of collectible. Star Wars trading cards, $5 each. Feeling lucky? And there's their vinyl section, which has provided quite a bit of collectorbations. Vinyl everywhere. Fascinating. The Bowery is the shizzle. What can I say? And clocks. Wow. Anyway, let's get back to our little interview.
And I always tell people, just because it's here doesn't mean we're looking for it or not looking for it.
That's interesting.
That's just what we happen to have right now.
You don't need more merry-go-round horses?
We're always using another merry-go-round. Yes.
I have Bubba Smith's dentures. Any interest?
There's a super spooky Joe Hill short story about a merry-go-round, and if you do, they stole from them. They injured the operator, stealing money from him for drugs. So all the animals came to life and stalked them and killed them.
Yeah.
That's Joe Hill, of course, his dad.
Yes.
Wrote a story about GI Joes that came to life and killed a guy.
Oh my God.
Okay, so they're on the same wavelength there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what do you think is the oddest stuff that you carry?
So, well, it's usually whenever I say this thing is, who's going to want this thing? That's the first thing to go. Like this is awful, and it's the first thing to go.
No one's gonna want this.
Yeah.
And then there's a line for them. Right.
I mean, we've had prosthetics.
Wow.
We've had there was a lamp in there that was made out of a tool of some sort, and it took us a year to figure out what the tool was.
Oh my God.
I mean, and then one day, when the customers came in, she said, "I'm not leaving until we figure it out." And we figured it out, but it's a food chop. It's an old, like 1800 or 1900 food chopper. But yeah, I mean, we get things in like, I don't even know what it is. Let's figure it out.
Wow. That's funny. One of the questions that we ask a lot of bands when we're talking to them is, "What's the weirdest thing you found in your parents' house?" And it sounds like you guys kind of, and they always have the craziest answers, like, "My mother has a bath brush that has a naked lady on it. We don't know why, But that's the world that you guys kind of live in. You're looking for the most oddball stuff in our parents' house.
Well, I think that's a good summary of our job.
So thanks very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We'll continue to come and look for those oddball vinyl records that I can't believe you
I'm
have.
going to donate some china to you, I think. I have china from 1934. None of my children want it. It's my grandmother's.
Yeah.
I'll just give it to you.
Yeah, because you can't ship it.
I know.
No,
You can't do anything with it.
yeah.
I have it in a pouch at home wrapped.
So are you aware that there are literally on the internet pages and pages of strange charities that you can donate money to? The charity of your choice has gotten to be quite varied. For example, fuck middle age. The Critter Connection is a charity. All proceeds go to abandoned guinea pigs.
Who abandons guinea pigs? I thought guinea pigs were good for everything.
You had a guinea pig story, didn't you?
I had a guinea pig that I loved. He was long-haired. I would put he was peach and white,
Yeah.
and I put his hair from barrettes, and I used to get him out of his cage and let him hop around. They let those guinea pigs hop around. But
She was 26, by the way.
and I went away to summer camp, and I went for 2 weeks. And after a week, my mom would periodically just throw vegetables, ends of salads in there, and the thing would go through it like a buzzsaw, and it did nothing. So my mom said, "Uh-oh," and they took it to the vet, and they totally told my mom that they had a depressed piggy on their hands. And basically that meant the thing was depressed because I left, and they said that happens. They tried to shoot it up with intravitreous fluids, gave it pills. My mom got it home, went to give it its first dose of medicine, dead. So I think they were feeling bad because me, mom, writing home, "Oh, how's my piggy?" And they couldn't tell me. But as soon as I got off the bus, my dad looked at me and said, "Your pig is dead."
Yeah, he's not one to mince
I
words.
was like, "What?"
Anyway, other charities that you might not know about, the American National Cattlewomen's Association. All the proceeds go to women that are passionate about the beef industry.
So it's not like beef. It's not like cowgirls.
No, it's women who like beef. I know.
Beef. It's what's for dinner. Maybe they're doing that campaign.
Tall Clubs International promotes causes that benefit exceptionally tall people. So I guess when they're having trouble getting into that seat at Southwest Airlines,
Or they need the extra headroom or clearance or
No, I'm gonna get
something like that.
Yeah, these were all. I had no idea that the charity of your choice. And then those were my favorites. But I encourage all of you, all of our minions, to go check out odd charities. It's just pages and pages of them. Shifting gears for a moment. If I see that fucking ad for Hertz with Tom Brady again, I think I'm going to gouge my eyes out. He is not funny. There are some people that are very good at certain things. Obviously, he's one of the greatest of all time, quarterback-wise, but the arrogance to think that you can also, now I'll handle comedy. No.
Now, he's not funny, and you know what? It's not He's even trying to do the deadpan role, and it's not working.
Even the deadpan stuff isn't working. As the straight man, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, there are just certain people that are inherently funny, and there's people who are inherently not funny. Matthew McConaughey is not funny. I mean, that crap he does in Wolf of Wall Street, I have to fast forward. That's the only part I can't stand. There are just, I used to have a rule that if a movie had Sandra Bullock in it or Matthew McConaughey, I'm skipping it. Those are two deal breakers for me.
And I know how much you love Clayton.
All right. Clayton is not funny. He falls into this category as well. Again, so talented in so many ways. Stick to what you're good at. I was looking at TikToks of Clayton, and there's one where he's talking about why he has the red hair. And he tells this ridiculous story about there were buckets of Kool-Aid on the ground and he fell into one. He goes on, and I'm like, is this supposed to be a joke? Please, just stick to your vintage vocoder collection, you know? Make the music, don't make the humor. We'll handle the funny, you know?
How about Whoopi Goldberg? She's
Not
actually
funny.
hosted a few, I think, Emmys.
In college, right? You know, Beer, Weed, and Next Generation got us through in college. And we would flip on, again, this was not pre-recorded. This was live, you know, Next Generation was on. As soon as it had Whoopi, we'd all be like, fuck. It's a Whoopi one, because whenever they would have it, they would really center on Whoopi Goldberg, and her character was so unfunny, and she just, Don't get me started on Whoopi Goldberg.
That one she did Sister Act, I thought everyone around her was a little funny. But
Well, the writing, I mean, they wrote for her to be funny, but she just is not. I mean, you know.
So how about Rob Gronkowski, another football player?
I think it's a Patriots thing. Yeah. He wants to be, he wants that insurance.
Also, USDA? No. That's
What is it? Yeah, exactly.
USAA.
USA. He wants the insurance, but
For military.
that's for military and government workers, and the whole. I mean, they never vary that. But I'm the Gronk, and they're like, sorry, bro, you're not in the military. That's the best they got. Anyway, yeah, not funny.
How about Sandra Bullock?
Yeah, we talked about her. Yeah, she that Bird Box shit made me want to gouge my own eyes out.
Well, that
yeah.
wasn't supposed to be funny, but I've seen her try to be funny. It isn't funny.
It isn't
My
funny.
favorite movie with her is Hope Floats, but no one's funny in that.
Then there's people that are surprisingly funny that you would expect. Like, I remember watching, what was it? Nicole Kidman was on Jimmy Fallon's show, I think. I don't know why I was watching Jimmy Fallon. Please come at me in the comments. Anyway, she tells this story about how when he was first on SNL, she wanted to meet him. So her agent called Jimmy and said, hey, I got Nicole Kidman with me. We're going to stop by and see you. She wants to meet you. She might have a movie role for you. And Jimmy was like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anything to eat in the house. I was like this young bachelor. So she tells this long story about she comes over and he was really awkward and he didn't make any jokes. And then he just started playing video games. And then she thought, well, maybe Jimmy's gay. I didn't, there's nothing wrong with that. She actually liked, she was actually like looking for a date, so it's a fascinating story. And then like, he's so embarrassed he walks off and she just gets behind on his desk and is like, I guess this is the Nicole Kidman show now. I was like, wow, Nicole Kidman is freaking funny,
Oh, I love it when rock stars are quite unintentionally funny, like King Buzzo from the Melvins.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'd like to get him on the show. Buzzo's interviews are hysterical. And he's a Dave Grohl basher, so, right? Oh, he stole my heart, so. How about Peyton Manning? I mean, now there's a man who mastered football. I think the man could master brain surgery if he wanted. His stuff on SNL still slays me.
I love his song about chicken parmesan.
Oh my God. The stuff he does with Dion. Remember the thing with Dion? You still got that suit, Dion? Oh, baby, I look good. Yeah. Or how about the SNL skit where he's playing with the kids and they're like, oh, look, he's throwing the ball to the kids and he's fucking down. And they'll go, ow. He's knocking the kids over. And he's like, nice one, Donald. Oh, hysterical, yeah.
I always thought Charlie Sheen was funny even when he was doing his hashtag winning bit.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's funny, but that show, 2.5 Men, that went on for about 11 seasons longer than it needed to, Oh, my gosh. Oh. Yeah, so this has been people that are funny and or not funny, unintentionally. Yes, we do.
Businesses that shouldn't be real.
Let's skip that. We'll save that for another day. Okay, so we're going to transfer ourselves back magically to our basement. This has been Mark and Stace at the Bowery.
It's not easy to,
Yeah.
snap
The
them.
DeLorean constantly is in need of repair.
How great was that?
It was really fun, and definitely, if you're in Parkville or Baltimore, make your way over to the Bowery and check out all the great stuff they have. You might just find something just perfect for that space on your wall or a conversation piece for your basement. You never know.
Can't believe the Star Wars trading cards are $5 a piece.
If only I'd held on to mine.
Only I held on to mine, right. So anyway, so you were talking about, you had an idea for a rave?
There is a really great trick. Here's more intel you can amuse your guest with at your next rave or random gala event.
Yes.
Okay, grab a UV light. I mean, who doesn't have one of those lying around, right?
Black light.
Huh?
It's a black light, right?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
black light. Right.
basically.
Well, I think for this trick, you might want to get like a fluorescent UV light,
Okay.
And then you pour a few gin and tonics and then hand them to your friends and then turn off all the light except the UV lamp and then say, okay, let's see how this drink's glow in the dark. And they do.
Really?
You see, in the tonic water, it contains quinine, which absorbs ultraviolet light and re-emits it as visible light. And this makes it kind of appear to glow while the components of the rest of the drink remain dark. So, but pro tip, this will work with any drink containing tonic water.
So it's all about the tonic water.
Yeah, so you can put anything with it.
I mean, you could wait until everyone's like a little tipsy and then tell them that, just give them pure tonic water and tell them that the drinks are spiked with an elixir made from the corn discovered near King Tut's tomb. Watch them drink themselves sober, but they'll act all drunk and Egyptian.
Or maybe do it during a seance. Just flip on that UV light in the dark and have all their drinks glow.
That reminds me when I was in 7th and 8th grade and we were already going to beer parties. We thought we discovered non-alcoholic beer.
Mm.
And we were fascinated by this. So we went to work. We were drinking the actual beer and we would fill all the females' cups with the fake beer and watch them pretend to get drunk, fall around. And then like after, a few hours, we'd be like, you haven't had any actual beer tonight. That's what that reminds me of. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, we didn't have Facebook. Give me a break, right? So.
You gotta definitely spook your guests by yelling, drink the Kool-Aid! And then you throw on some dark sunglasses. I mean, add to the mystery. Why not?
Well, you dug up something interesting about alcohol.
Yeah, enjoying alcohol isn't just for the era of light beer commercials and beaches.
That's what I think. Not to drink.
Maybe it's an ancient
Not
beer.
proper
Maybe
beer.
it glows in the dark.
Prop man placed it here. Good job. Good job, Harvey.
Historians have actually found that the practice of getting a little tipsy goes back at least 10,000 years. Now, researchers have even found that alcohol residue on pottery discovered in the Yellow River in China. They believe that the fermented drink was a mix of, and this sounds really mead-like, but it was rice, honey, and hawthorn food, or possibly grapes, I guess, for flavor. Mm-hmm. And they've dated that pottery to somewhere back around 7,000 BC. Can you imagine drinking that stuff? Pouring it right out of the pot. You can just say, make mine a holiday pour of some of that swill straight out of that old pot. So festive.
Confucius say, man who tills land by day, better off plowed at night. Also, man who works like bee and hive is better off buzzed. Okay, I think we'll play a song now. This is Deceased from Ghostly White to Serve the Insane. Okay, let's talk about Home Chef.
Our ad this week is for Home Chef. They are our favorite meal delivery service. And when I say meal delivery service, it just isn't like TV dinners and things like that. They send you all the produce, the meat, spices, ingredients, everything you need. All you'll have to add is some olive oil of your own and some S&P to TT. And that's about it. You can pick your meals every week. They give you a selection. You get about 15 different meals. And even in between the meals, you can choose to have Impossible burger meat. You can choose to have ground beef. You can choose it to change to chicken. There's so many options. They have desserts. They have smoothies. So many things. And they come right to your door. Any shipment over $60 ships for free. And believe me, these will change the way they cook. I don't use frozen vegetables anymore. I roast everything in the oven. It's so much healthier. It's so much tastier. I mean, even when I'm not making a home chef, I cook the home chef way. So they have bestowed upon us a link to save you money. If you click on it, you will save $20 off your first order. So get over to Home Chef and get cooking.
Yeah, I like the interplanetary kumquats. They're great. Yeah. Okay, let's play the Campfire theme. It's time for Campfire.
Because streaming services are evil corporations that gatekeep bands from their fans and pay them pennies while collecting millions.
This is Campfire.
This week on Campfire, we are featuring Nekromantheon. Their Bandcamp page is nekromantheon.bandcamp.com. They are a fantastic black thrash trio from Norway. The word Nekromantheon comes from the Greek, which translates to Oracle of Death. So we're going to talk first about their 2012 album, Rise, Vulcan Spectre.
Now, this is a reverb-drenched thrash with some death overtones and wild leads. And there's not a single weak track on the whole body, a whole bloody thing. There's not. The band style recalls some of my favorite bands from the golden era, like Venom, Whiplash, and some of the Teutonic stuff.
Yeah.
But, I enjoyed what the album doesn't have.
There's no overdone double bass insanity, no crazy high-pitched yelps, no extensive intros or sitar segments or attempts to prove how techy they are, no tickiness, layers of scuzzy production to apply black metal overtones. Cuts like The Usurper Command and the one we're going to play for you, Raised by Dogs, deliver all the thrashing madness and hot leads one could ever desire. Stir the cauldron. So let's play a song. This is Raised by Dogs. Okay. Nekromantheon 2. We're going to talk about their 2021 album, Visions of Trismegistos. I love that.
I'm not exactly sure what caused the 9-year hiatus for this trio of hellhounds.
Yeah.
Evidently, the bassist and guitarist have been focused on their parallel death metal project, Obliteration. And no, I haven't heard of them either.
No, I haven't heard of Obliteration.
But it is a shun, so maybe we should look them up.
Yep.
But damn, if this platter of scramble thrash doesn't echo the best of Bay Area filtered through auspiciousness that only Norway can seem to muster, fulfilling in a way that goes beyond the standard Goat Lord kitsch.
Yeah, I know. King Foley told us he's not into the Bay, but come on, some of it was good.
What about Norwegian Bay?
The guitarist, his name is Arild Ars Myron. I would like to have, all right, Arid Ars Myron Torp.
He's a real arse Myron.
You like to have the word, have Ars as your, kind of like your nickname. That's interesting. It sounds like he's a skank fragment to me, but anyway. So, anyway, he never resorts to Aldran-esque shenanigans. This is not a Dodd Heimsgard record. He chooses to keep the vocals husky and leonine, almost to the point of monotone, but it's perfect for these 8 blackened shards. The interplay is taut, the sense of urgency is palpable, and the snare-popping sprints of drummer Christian Kick. Everybody's got like a little mini nickname.
I kind of like
Christian
that name for a drummer.
Kick Home.
At least he's not double kick.
Or relentless. But he does double kick, yes. Strangulated riffs vis-a-vis 7 rulers of fate offer twitches of destruction at their hungriest and most bullet-belted. For me, at my most bullet-belted. While the murderous speed of Dead Temples conjures Possessed circa 85, and I know you all are into that, but none of these bands could have penned lyrics like "I surrender to the hatoplegic" or "enter the anthropophobic paradigm."
Maybe they should get in with Hellripper and his thesaurus.
I think this is Lovecraftian stuff because a lot of times
Hellripper, Hellwitch. Hellwitch. Maybe they should get in with
Oh, that's
Ulrich
more-
and his thesaurus.
that's more thesaurus stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think this is Lovecraft stuff. Anyway,
All right, these wayward demons aren't afraid to break scene-imposed regulations. Check out the twin guitars swelling in zealot rain. Ballsy undertaking for a trio.
Yeah.
Follow this next quality fare like Inculter and Aria Noir, and let's hope we don't need to wait a decade for another rusty Sith slice from Nekromantheon.
right. So let's play a song. This is "The Visions of Trismegistos."
This is our great interview with King Foley. We really enjoyed discussing thrash with this legend. Like we aforementioned, there are several geek out moments that just run amok. So here's our interview with King Foley of Deceased.
We wanted to have your Fast Times behind us. We thought that'd be appropriate. Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
Cool.
We're
Yeah, I
big
don't know what
fans
the
of
hell
that.
happened at that damn thing the other day, man.
There's a
I
lot going
apologize
on.
again.
I think it's
It got out
hysterical.
of hand quick, man.
So we're down the street, all set up, going, he's going to be here any minute. And meanwhile, you walk up to 97 Underground, and they're like, "What?" Right?
Well, pretty much Amos told me, he said, yeah, that guy you were supposed to do an interview with, he's waiting for you over there, 97 Underground. I said,
Oh,
okay.
geez.
And I went over there, and the guy's like had some other guy on there. So he's like, yeah, you're supposed to be here, have a seat. And I sit down, and they're really into this guy at first. He's like, okay, King, where are you guys playing around town and, in the DC, Baltimore area? And I said, blah, 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 blah. And then we just sat there. They talked about some fucking pizza, and then that was it. And I was like, wow,
Oh
that
my
wasn't much to that.
God.
And I walked away, and I was like, that's what it was. He goes, yeah, that's the guy that contacted me on the email. I'm like, huh?
No.
That's kind of where it stood.
I couldn't have made that location work sound wise either.
Dude, I had no idea at that point who anybody was anymore. I was like completely freaked out. There's people hitting me up on Facebook now. They're like, yeah, man, remember taking this picture? I'm like, nope. And I got a great memory. That's what was weird about it all. We literally came down, me and my wife went down Friday into Virginia to do some, I used to live in Virginia. We did a bunch of crap down there. We were supposed to practice at 6 o'clock in DC for the show. Our bass player didn't get there till 10:15. So 4.5 hours later, my wife had to do a supervisor thing at 8:30 morning in Pennsylvania. So we drove all the way back to Philly, stayed at our house, got up again. She did her thing, and then we drove back to Baltimore by 2 o'clock to play the show. So it was just loopy eyed Joe, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you guys sounded great. I mean, the set was great. I love that you went back to the first
Thanks,
record.
we did have a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were keeping it old school. We didn't play anything newer than like 97, so we didn't play anything for like 26 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, like when you were like,
They
this
gave
is
us
when I
30
was
minutes.
still-
They put us early. They put us early on that thing. I don't know what the hell the deal was. We just went in. We said we got 30 minutes. Most of our tunes in the last 20 years are like 5 to 10 minutes each, so it would have been like 3-4 songs tops.
Yeah. No, I love that about you guys. Your songs are a little longer, 6-7 minutes. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Well-
working on the new one now.
That's great.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait for that for sure. So I know everyone asked you since you were the first to get signed with Relapse. Did you feel like you were taking a chance doing it, or how was it like working with them?
It was pretty much even, Steven. We were kind of like just coming up, and they were just coming up too. And we, they basically, Matt, the owner at the time, Jacobs, he lived in Colorado, and we used to do pen pal stuff. He'd send me stuff at the old Kinko's copy place, these stickers that you put them on something. As soon as you pulled the paper off the back of the sticker, all the ink would come off the sticker, so there really would be no sticker. But that was the earliest days, and he kept telling me, I'm going to do a record label, and I want you guys to be the first band. And so I said, okay, let me know. And me and Mark and Les from the band at the time, we were all in. We were like, they don't got any money. We don't got no money. Perfect. Let's go with it. And our guitar player was like, no, we got to wait it out. But he got outnumbered. So we went with it. And I mean, Relapse went on to do a lot of good things, and I do thank them for the early days of being
Yeah.
on the label and stuff. But it was something that went, like a lot of the stories, it did go south eventually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, understood. I mean, it was nice that Scott Hall from Pig Destroyer had a Deceased shirt on for his set. I thought that was a
Oh
nice,
yeah, yeah.
that was a nice tip off. We tried to flag him down, but I couldn't get him. Like, I always wanted to thank him for the engineering job he did on those pentagram demos when they unearthed the old pentagram stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because remember, I mean,
Yeah.
you're old school like me. Remember how legendary they were? Like those, nobody could get a hold of those early recordings. It was like the stuff of legend, and people had hissy tape copies was the best you could get of the early pentagram. And
I
it was
mean,
great.
I grew up in Arlington, Virginia. That's where they grew up,
Yeah.
in Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah.
And to be honest, truthfully, a lot of people back then looked at them as a joke. They really did, because they were just
Really?
older guys and stuff, and they were kind of under the radar. And then Sean Pelletier from Relapse, he wrote that big thing talking about that 70s thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was the guy that put Pentagram on the map outside of the locals back in the day. I mean, it was
Yeah.
them, it was the Obsessed, it was Asylum, which became Unorthodox.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was like the Doom, the hippie rock is what it was called then.
Yeah.
I remember them when they were called Death Row. I can remember the ads as a kid,
Wow.
like, you think Iron Maiden is heavy, you think Black Sabbath is cool,
Yeah. Yeah.
you've got to
Yeah.
see Death Row, and they'd be
Yeah.
playing it like, Billy's Barbecue this Saturday night. Be there.
Yeah, that was and again, it's insular and it's pre-internet. So I thought Pentagram and Unorthodox and Earthride and all that stuff, I thought that was the real Doom. So when I heard Candlemass, I was like, what the hell is this shit? What's with the Ingve solos and stuff? Where are the sideburns? Where are the flares? I didn't know how to process it
Right.
at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where's the underarm hairs?
That's right. And the best thing about Pentagram is you never
on
knew.
the gals.
Oh yeah. And it was always, is Bobby going to show up? Is he not going to show up? Are we going to have a show? There's always that danger. Yeah.
Well, hey, Walter, who plays bass in Deceased live, our bass player, he used to be in Pentagram. He was he was there a couple of those shows where Bobby didn't show up.
Oh God.
He's told me the tales,
Yeah, we all were there. Yeah, I understand.
He was actually in the band, and he was like, dude, Bobby's not showing up.
Yeah.
Oh my
No.
God.
But you're right. That Maryland scene was heavy stoner rock.
Oh, yeah.
There was tons of them.
What was the German label?
Wino was doing a couple of different things.
Hellhound, right? Hellhound stuff.
Hellhound Records. Revelation was another one. John
Mhm.
Brenner was a good friend. My
Mhm.
bass player, my other band, October 31, Jim, he was the bass player in Revelation for a few albums. When John Brenner stopped playing, it was Dennis Cornelius, who used to live at my house. He was the singer, guitar player. And
Yeah.
there was them. And then, there was other bands too. Like we said, there was, what's another band that was going on then? There was, Eternal Void.
Internal Void.
Iron Man, of course, blah, blah,
Iron Man.
blah.
Yeah.
But it was always something. We played with a lot of those bands back in the day.
I
man,
loved all
because-
that stuff. I was knee deep in all that stuff. Yeah. Those were the days. Yep. Yeah.
You guys had
Those were the days.
so many demos at the beginning. Was that just kind of like was that like a calculated thing? Were you label shopping?
I was talking about this earlier on Facebook today. We were writing tunes and improving our craft, something I think in today's music world, people jump the gun too much.
Yeah.
Bands are more interested in coming up with a clever name, a cutesy pie band photo, and they're already making videos and then they're off doing an album. We were in no hurry. We were in no
Yeah.
hurry to do an album. If you take the first 3 demos, which were released to the public, that was 9 songs, 8 songs, 7 songs. Right there, that's 24 songs. And we actually recorded a 4th demo just for ourselves, which was 5 more songs. We had 29 songs before we even thought about doing a record.
Yeah.
We wanted to get better as songwriters and things like that. We were in no hurry. It really wasn't a conscious effort. Even with the Relapse thing, had we passed on that, if we would all say, you know what, let's just keep doing what we do for a little while longer, that would have been fine too. We were not actually looking for a record label or anything. We were just wanted to play music.
That's
We were
really cool.
becoming, I like to say, the local heroes. We were doing very good on the party front. When we started out, there was 2 bands in Virginia that I knew of that played what we were doing. There was us in Northern Virginia, and there was At War down in Southern Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all there was. We were playing parties with bands called Learning Disabled Kids and Creeping Corpse. It was these punk rock bands, and we would cover Sodom songs or Hyrax or even Pathry. The early Slayer stuff. Nobody knew what that was. Nobody.
Yeah.
So we do a DRI cover, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that." But
Yeah.
it was weird. We'd play a lot of outdoor parties out in Great Falls, Virginia, with these punk rockers whose parents were doctors, and they had these huge, and I mean huge fields we'd do stuff in. So that's kind of where it was, and we just kind of went from there, and we became, we were all smoking and toking and drinking and fucking and all that stuff back then. So we became this crazy fucking, the guys in Deceased, and me being outlandish as shit back then. I mean, I was drinking quarts of motor oil at parties and shit. Oh my God, these guys are crazy. And no kidding aside. I mean, we were just nuts. And that's kind of where it got for us as far as that. As far as the demos, we just wanted to write better songs. We were in no hurry to put a record out. We were actually kind of surprised when the guys that became Relapse came to us.
Yeah. What about Marty Friedman's band was part of that? Weren't they? He was in Hawaii and he was in the...
Yeah, he had Hawaii, but locally it was Deuce, and then they became
Deuce.
Tension.
That's it.
That was
Deuce.
Marty Friedman's band. It was called Deuce. I saw them open up for Metal Church first album tour up at the Seagull Inn in Maryland.
I remember the Seagull. Yeah. I never got to see Deuce, but I remember he was always talking about those big parties in Northern Virginia. Yeah, that he would play at. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Same scene.
Any just that Maryland, DC, Virginia had that party craziness going on for sure.
Really cool. Yeah.
So what was it like running your own label when you had With Your Teeth? How many bands did you have, and how was it?
I only had a few things. Truthfully, I always tell the truth when I do stuff. We used to go out and steal CDs at record stores to survive. We used to go into record stores, Sam Goodies and stuff, and we would take CDs and trade them in. How this got this way was when we were young, we didn't have any money for weed. So we'd go into these stores, and I'd actually used to work at Waxy Maxie's. Maybe you guys remember that record store, Waxy Maxie's. And I used to pop the cassette traps. I knew how to get the cassettes out of those plastic shoplifter traps. So we'd take like 8, 9 tapes and trade them in for 20, 25 bucks, get an eighth of weed, whatever it was. So one day I saw these things called compact discs. I remember it was the first 4 Sabbaths I took. They were in the long box then, and they were like $18, $20, $25 each. And I said, well, they're definitely worth more than a damn cassette. So I took them to this record store, and the ice guy said, I've never had anybody trade them. They're so new. I said, what do you want to give me? He goes, I'll give you $5 a piece. So just like that, we had our money for that. So we just became this crew. I hate to say this. I'm long removed from this, but back in those crazy days, those motor oil drinking days, we did that. So I would put aside some of the money, and I would tell bands, I'm going to put out a 7-inch of your band, or I'm going to put out a cassette album, or we're going to do a demo, or whatever, T-shirts, blah, blah, blah. So that's truly what it was then. It was just to help out. And it wasn't that much money. It was learning experience more than anything. But I love doing it. I did stuff with local guys. Abominog put out their first 7-inch. A band called Corpus Ratus out of Delaware, which I did an album with called Rituals of Silence. They should have been huge. They just couldn't keep it together. These guys should have been on Roadrunner and stuff. They should have been up there with the bigger bands. They were that good. But I love doing it. And we used to have these shows called Teeth, and More Teeth after the record label. And we'd have these big, all-nighter. When I was in 3 of the bands playing, I helped out Abominog. I had Deceased, and I had Doomstone, this other band at the time. I'd be on stage two friggin' hours in a row with 3 bands.
Wow. Yeah, we just interviewed Pat from Hellwitch the other day.
I love Pat. Great guy.
He had all kinds of stories about being on Wild Rags. And I just was like, you recorded at Morrisound. Why didn't you get the cushy, 3-album Metal Blade deal? And he was like, because of fucking Wild Rags. Yeah.
Richard C.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with Richard C. Believe it or not. I'm an old nostalgic guy. I collect this and that. And he used to go to his basement and come to me and be like, King, man, you have any interest in Charlie's Angels posters? And absolutely. We're on the phone. All of a sudden he goes, I'm gonna have to call you back. The IRS, the police are here from the IRS.
Oh my
God. Yeah, that's the legend of Wild Rags.
When they took him away right then and there.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with him. No shit. I was on the phone with. We were talking about the old porno girl Seika. He's like, I got these old porno girl Seika posters. You want those? Yeah, I'll take those. Hold on. The cops are here. Got to go. Click. And that's the last time I ever talked to Richard C.
Any excuse, whatever. The cops are here. Hey, I wanted to ask you a rumor I heard about you, but I never substantiated it. You don't like headphones because you only like large speakers. Is that right? Like, where did I hear that? No small speakers?
I do wear, you may have heard, it may got like kind of transformed in the told to you.
Yeah.
When we record, headphones can't hold me. Is
Okay,
what
got
it
it.
is. When we did our first album, Luck of the Corpse, I had the thing on 10 to the point it was literally, I don't know how this happened. It was literally smoke coming out of the headphones. I don't know. Sounds like a Spinal Tap thing, but truthfully, that's what happened. And Mike Bozier, who does Oblivion Studios, who's a good friend of ours and recorded many things, he tells people, I go in there after we've done a session of vocals when I'm in there with the headphones on, and the next person in line's like, oh my God, who had this on? This is killing me. And it's never enough. So there's been times on Inner Ear Studios when we did Blueprints for Madness, where he would just put the overheads on with the background, and he would let the bleed come through, and I would just do it. It just never loud enough for me.
Never
I don't
loud
know.
enough.
Something's wrong with
This-
something's
yeah,
really
it's
wrong
not
with
too
me.
far
Man.
off. Okay. That's good.
You guys up in Metal Archives are actually 4 other deceased: Germany, Philippines, Poland, and Singapore. Did you ever have a problem with the name?
But those 4 came after us. There was actually 2 bands before us. There was a band in England called Deceased, was a punk band in the early 80s. And there was a band called The Deceased back then before us. No, never at all. It's weird because I see all the time maybe a Facebook thing or a YouTube thing where someone's like telling them, are you fucking stupid? There's a band called Deceased. It's been around close to 40 years.
Yeah.
Go find another name. You know,
Right.
they're like, what are you going to call yourself next? Iron Maiden? You know, giving them some shit like that.
Exactly.
I've never talked to anybody in those bands ever. Nobody's ever said anything to me. People have come to me like you guys just did and said, hey, you know about these guys? And some of them, I played them for shits and giggles. And hey, you know, teach their own. We're deceased for 38 years. We just do what we do, and so be it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
great. Yeah.
So how did you come up with that idea when you kind of throw time signature changes in the middle of a song? It kind of creates a wide ride feel that I think is specific to you guys.
It's really okay. I'm the arranger of all the stuff. I'm the arranger and the deranger. Mike Smith has been writing the riffs probably since '97, mostly everything. He's the riff writer. He'll come in with stuff, and I'll take it and put it through the King-O-meter and change it up a little bit and stuff. How it got to the weird arrangements and stuff that you're asking, I would say it was my extreme love for Emerson, Lake and Palmer in 1993 when we did the Blueprints for Madness songs, where I was like, we're gonna take it outside the box. We're gonna be crazy. But I also wanted it to be something, because if you're too technical, there's no song there. And I wanted there to be hooks. And I'm from the school of pop too. I grew up on all the stuff, even with Deceased. When I'm writing stuff, I'm thinking good, memorable choruses, a la Foreigner, things like that. Bands that there's a hook there. You got to have a song. To me, there's plenty of bands that can write great riffs, but they can't arrange a song. I'd rather listen to 50 Ramones songs in a row that are all catchy and sing along than just a bunch of wankery, which unfortunately, a lot of these technical bands, some people love it, just not for me or us, and aren't so much into that. But we try to put a little bit of everything we do into it. We love everything from the extreme bands when we grew up with like Repulsion or Master to stuff like Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, or Fate's Warning, to of course your Maidens, to your Anvils, then to your early Napalm Death or Impetigo. It goes all over the spectrum. And meanwhile, like I said, all that, the stuff I love, it could be a Pat Benatar song that's just a hook in your thing. You're not want to sound like that, but you want to have something that people remember. When we play, a lot of times, maybe not so much in Baltimore this past weekend, because we played so much older, just, we're on fire, run for the door kind of shit that weekend. But if you start getting to like mainly Fearless On, there's a lot of heavy metal in there mixed in with our thrash, our speed, and I still stand by this. We're still death metal. Now, death metal became grr and downtuned and Incantation and Cannibal Corpse and Gore Guts and Obituary. To me, if you want to call that death metal, I have to have some kind of eeriness, some kind of darkness, some kind of presence in the music that brings fear and like a chill to my skin and my blood, because that's what's missing. And that's one thing we do. I had one guy tell me that we were drama metal. He's like, man, I'm scared on these songs. I'm like, that's what we're trying to do. A lot of bands don't do that. They tune down, they gurgle with their, incoherent vocals. That's another thing. All my lyrics have got to be pronunciated. I'm from the school of Kronos from Venom. Heavy, but you hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
That's kind of where all that comes from. We just we throw it in a cup and roll it out with some dice.
Yeah, we were just talking with James from Hellripper, and I complimented him on that. I'm like, that's the kind of style that I like best, where I can honestly, I don't have to look up the lyrics and be like, what was that? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the same with me. Years and years and years and years ago, before he was ever in Cannibal Corpse, when he was in Corpse Grinder,
Yeah.
he always wanted to arm wrestle me. Let's arm wrestle, dude. Let's arm wrestle. And I kept saying, dude, you can't arm wrestle me. You'll lose. So on my birthday, I think it was 91. I'm going to say 90 or 91 on my birthday. He said, "Come on, man, I'm at your birthday. Let's arm wrestle." And I'd been tilting the bottle at the time, and this girl made me a cake of a cemetery, and she's like, "It took all day to make this. Let's cut it up and eat it." And I said, "Fuck that!" I took the whole cake and just went blap right in my face.
Oh my
The whole cake, right? She's like, "You're fucking nuts." And he's like, "All right, let's do this shit now. Let's do this." I said, "All right, motherfucker, you ready to lose?" We laid down. I'm not kidding. He waited 2 years for this. We put arm to arm. 2 seconds, I pinned him. And he literally was, I'm not going to say he truly was crying, but he was emotionally upset about this.
Devastated.
I was like, I kept telling you, man, don't waste your time. So whenever I do see him, I'm like, "Want to arm wrestle? You want to fucking arm wrestle?"
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, we were
Good guys, though.
we were watching them, and of course I've been a Cannibal fan for years and years, and I was talking to Stace, and I messaged her. I said, "Yeah, Corpse Grinder's from Baltimore," and she's like, "Oh, really?" So then he announces, "This is my hometown,and I just muttered in her ear, Broncos fan."
Right, yeah. Ravens will punch you in the face. I get you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. Wait, as soon as he said Broncos fan, I'm like, okay, well, So anyway,
Well, I wouldn't be a Broncos fan if I lived in Denver.
exactly right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really loved the Fearless Undead Machine with the whole kind of zombie motif, and it just seems like it permeates our culture. Like, you had the George Romero in yours. I'm sure you've seen The Walking Dead. It just seems to be such a theme in our culture that people are just fascinated with. Why do you think we keep coming back to zombies?
That's a good question. I really don't have the answer to that. I mean, I know when we did our first demo, The Evil Side of Religion, I have no idea what the hell that name meant or nothing. I was 18, 17. We were writing about the typical crap like grave robbing or the end of the world, or, something like that, something gory. And
Yeah.
by the second and third demos, we did Birth by Radiation, Nuclear Exorcist. Those were actually concept demos. And I had thought at the time, as we keep going, I'm going to keep this concept going throughout our whole career. And then when it came to the fourth demo, I was like, you know what? This is kind of going in a circle. It's going to be worthless. Two albums in. So when we did get signed to Relapse and they wanted an album, we wanted to put songs from that first demo that had nothing to do with that concept. So it immediately threw me off my, what I was going to do. So I said, one day we're going to come back to this and I'm going to do it right with everything, which had to do with the zombies and stuff. And yes, I grew up. I mean, I'm born 1968. That's the year of Night of the Living Dead for me. The great zombie start of it all, the Romero zombies. I don't know why it's still as big as it is. I think it's overplayed now. It's so out of control. The Walking Dead has kind of run its course now. It's kind of going a little bit more, I'd say underground again for a while. When we hit on it in 97, two things were going on. I don't think zombie films were in then. And I know for a damn fact that heavy metal was a no-no 2 words in the United States.
Yeah.
It was all about grunge or alternative or anything but heavy metal.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that we wanted to put a sticker on the album, which we didn't get to do because Relapse, they chickened out. We had one that it said straight up on there, it said no yo boy breakdowns, no, like rap metal, and it said like no Pantera beards. This is death metal from the grave. And they refused to put that on there at the time. And I said, we're bringing back the zombie thing. We dedicated that record, if you ever see the thanks in there, to like the Romero stuff, of course, but even the Italian films back then, the zombies, the Gates of Hell, all those movies that we grew up on, because horror movies are a very important thing to me and to the guys in the band. I mean, it's carried some of our records, but it'd be Supernatural Addiction or a lot of Ghostly White even. There's a lot of that. My mom got me into that crap. My mom used to tell me, you were conceived when me and your dad went to see Rosemary's Baby, in the drive-in. And I said, okay. But I said, Mom, Rosemary's Baby is 1968 too. Takes 9 months to have a baby, right? And she's
I think her math is off. Yeah.
And then she goes, well, maybe it was the movie Blood Feast then. But yeah, my dad died very, very young, which probably puts a morbid thing in my heart somewhere because I'm a very happy guy overall. But My mom took me to every horror movie, and I could remember looking at her, and she'd have this look like, "Yep, I hope it's scaring the shit out of you." You know, it did. I can remember being 8, seeing a movie called Burnt Offerings with Karen Black, Betty Davis, great haunted house movie. And I said, "Mom, I don't want to see the ending. I'm freaked out." She's like, "Well, go out in the lobby then. The people in the movie will be out there with you. You know, I'm going to see the end of the film." So she would fuck with me. But that's kind of where the zombie thing came for us. Why it's a big thing in the world, I really don't know. But I guess we all have a mystique about dying. And if there
Yeah.
really is, you ever do come back, obviously not like that, but just in general, life after death or restarting life. That's the greatest mystery on the planet is where do you go when you die?
Yeah,
Nobody has the answer. Not even Harry Houdini could tell us.
that's right. And what's that behind you? I see a lot of. Are they VHS? Are they CD? What format are you?
This is all horror DVDs. My
DVDs.
house
Okay.
here. I'll give you a quick tour. Look. It's all my whole. It goes all the way up.
Oh
This is
my
all.
Lord.
This is where all my money I make ever goes. I have about
Yeah.
27,000 DVDs.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Movies is I tell people movies is my drug of choice besides music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all in my living room here. My living room's like my little I guess it's my museum. Everything's up. I could crazy shit everywhere in here.
Yeah, it's the
Wally
lair.
Gator over here. You're old enough to remember Wally Gator.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My mom used to call my room the den of sin. She would be like, "Can you please clean the den of sin?" Yeah. Yeah.
Can you please clean the dentist? And I like that. Yeah, this is my. I don't know. We'll call this the living room of doom.
There you go. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I also, of course, being from Baltimore, love that you did the Telltale Heart remake. Look, we have a Raven right here. He used to be a lamp, but we kind of broke him.
Yeah.
But I love that in the Dark Chilling Heartbeat. You know, it was neat that you kind of departed from movies and kind of let literature sneak in too. Are there other literary influences in your music?
I'm an Edgar Allan Poe freakazoid. I love it.
So am I.
On the Ghostly White album, I'm not sure how familiar you are with our last record, Ghostly White, but there's a song on there about a guy that's so infatuated with Edgar Allan Poe that every night he gets lost inside the story and becomes him. I go back to him. That story when I was a kid freaked me out. I used to have this record. Okay, here's the story. It was 1975. My dad died in 74. My mom took care of us at this apartment. We were very, very poor. My mom had to work on Halloween. It actually snowed that year, and my sister and me were there. I was let's see, I would have been 7. My sister was probably 4. My mom's sister was watching us. She came in the house. She said, her sister Marlene, she said, "Tell Kingsley to come with me. I see Kelly, my sister, is asleep." She took me outside. She took me to her car, and it started to snow. This was a wintry Halloween. We opened up the trunk. She had this record. It was called Famous Ghost Stories by Wade Denning. And it was all these, it was that was on there, and the Miser's Gold, just stuff we grew up with, all of us. They used to have these same these cuts from this record actually ended up on the Honeycomb cereal boxes in the late 70s. You actually cut the record off the back of the cereal. And I fell in love with this thing. It even had a hand puppet of a ghost. We were going back to the house, and this is no joke. We were going back to the house. I looked over and I saw this man in a bunny suit with looked like blood all over him. And my mom said, hurry up, hurry up. She pulled me in the house. Well, it turned out there was a guy who was a nut who was dressed up as the Bunny Man, the legend of the Bunny Man. And they actually caught this guy on Halloween. So this is something that stays with me in those stories, because the premonition also from Supernatural Addiction is another story, that I did back then, which was from Twilight Zone. This was all stuff from that era as being a kid. And there was actually another one on there called A Very Familiar Stranger, which is from a song called a story called The Hitchhiker from that same record. So that's like one of my main influences as a kid for lyrical content outside of the early stuff I said, The End of the World and, grave robbing and all that. This is things to me that hit home more, even if they're fiction for the most part. I remember that tale with the Bunny Man guy. That's true. People talk about these fake, the Mothman and all this. We saw this guy. My mom was scared to death. She drugged me up those stairs to that apartment on that night.
When you say the hitchhiker, do you mean the Twilight Zone hitchhiker? That one?
Kind of urban legend.
Yeah, kind of like an urban legend. Basically, it's the story of a guy who's driving on the road. It's real cold out. He sees a girl. She's standing there. He's like, "Why are you out here? It's freezing." She gets in the car. She's quiet. She's, subdued. She eventually says, "This is where I live. Can you take me home?" He takes her home.
I know this story.
He's driving away. He forgets his jacket he put on her. He goes back. The mother says, "There is no daughter. She's been dead. Every night somebody brings her home."
That's right. Okay. No, I got you. I thought you meant that I'm a real
Oh
Twilight
yeah, it's a
Zone
great one
nut.
too. No, I know what you're talking about. She keeps seeing the hitchhiker in
When
the
she's,
window of her
I tell you,
car.
my favorite part about that is she bangs on the old man's door and says, "Help up, I'm so scared. There's someone following me." And the old man's like, "Get the fuck out of here," right? And then the
Yeah.
Navy guy bangs and he's like, "Hey man, you got some customers out here." And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, no problem. You know, if a man says it's okay, then I'll gas you right up."
Right.
Man,
That's a great show. Talk about a show ahead of its time.
oh my God, I know. Yeah, I
Spooky
have the
as hell.
whole I have all the DVDs of that. Yes, I had to.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
As
totally.
you can tell.
Rod Serling, yeah.
Classic.
So the melodies and harmonies of your guitars have only gotten more intricate over the years. Is that a natural progression, or is it just a conscious push?
Absolutely. It's definitely part of what we do. I think that melodies, whether it be children's melodies and things as a kid, like things you remember in your head, or distracting melodies of awkwardness, of say of a band like a Voivod, they can put you in a weird mindset. And I think one thing that Mike Smith, the one that writes the riffs, he is the master of that. He can come up with stuff. We've got a riff that's going to be on the new record. I told him, I said, man, if there was ever a bullfighting theme, this is it. He's like, a bullfighting? I'm not looking for bullfighting. I'm like, trust me, this is so good, Mike. He just gets these riffs. And I told him, let's just keep pulling out these emotions. Now, this new record we're working on, which is called Children of the Morgue, it's pretty much a concept record on life and death, mainly death, because as the old Iron Maiden saying, and many others, as soon as you're born, you're dying. So this is the tale of all the arteries that come with dying, from the families dealing with it to the person that's dying dealing with it, to outside sources, the all the angles of this. So it's a very emotional record, and it calls for a lot of emotional moments of this record. It's going to be very, you know, touching heart for me. You know, I've lost a lot, mom and dad, in shitty ways. My son's mother in shitty ways. We lost our drummer drowned back in 2018. You know, this is it, and it's like, I'm a happy guy. I'm the nicest guy, smiles all the time, but there's a lot of freaky shit in my head I want to get out, and I want the music to match the vision of the lyrics, and that doesn't happen a lot. And I'm very proud of some of the stuff. For example, that song I just mentioned, "A Very Familiar Stranger." For me, the music fits the theme from start to finish. It's perfect, and that's what we thrive for. We never put out bullshit. We'll never half-ass a record or throw 8 new songs to say, "Here's the new record." When it's ready, it's ready. That's why sometimes it takes us 7 years to do a record. It's got to be right. There's no hurry for us. We're not out to do anything but make music. If anybody likes it, that's just an extra for us. We're not in this as a business. We're not in this to make money. None of that stuff. We play shows, and we just enough to get by. Maybe we get a couple scoops of ice cream or some cheese fries from Outback. You know what I'm saying? When all the bills are paid, that's as far as it goes. And we get that. We didn't start a band called Deceased and have songs called "Feasting on Skulls" or "Shrieks from the Hearse" to go, oh man, this is going to pay all our bills, and we're going to be Mick Jagger's right hand man. We know better. So it's going to be, we're all in, and that's what we do. That's why these records mean the world to us. And this new one will have a lot of what you're saying with these emotional and melodic parts, because to me, there's nothing wrong with melody. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, not at all.
Speaking of which, help me. As soon as you're born, you're dying. That's what the clairvoyant, right? Is that the song?
You're right on it.
All right. I just wanted to make sure, because I'm hearing the song in my head. All right, let's talk about that, because my God, the impeccable. First of all, why did Hell's not put it on vinyl? I don't understand that.
What's weird? We were talking about it yesterday. It probably will be on vinyl.
Yeah.
That was something I've been wanting to do since 1997. While we were writing Thrash Times, while we were writing Fearless, I said, I got this thing, Thrash Times at Ridgemont High. We got to do this one day. All our high school favorite crap, right? And so it kept never happening, because we were trying to write new records and stuff, because that's what we do. And when COVID came around and everybody slowed down, we couldn't play, and we were in our 35th year then, and we had this plan to do 100 shows all over the world, and we did one stop in Frederick, which I wouldn't call a world tour by any stretch of the imagination. We said, we're going to get this done. And at the same time, a friend of mine named Scooter Buell, he came to me wanted us to do another hardcore thing, which was what we had done before, the Rotten to the Core. And I said, we're going to do that, and we're going to do this Thrash Times. And we just got together and we did that. We didn't have to, we could just get together and jam and wrote this and recorded this. Thrash Times, I am so proud of it. I'll tell you, speaking for myself, I wanted those vocals to be where they needed to be for each song. I didn't want it to just be me. I wanted to recreate to a degree all that stuff. For example, the Blessed Death song. There's a scream on there that goes for 12 seconds, and I made sure that I did that scream. I didn't Pro Tool it in 3 seconds.
No, yeah.
I hit that crap. My wife kept saying when I was practicing upstairs all the time, I'd be like, whatever. She was like, "You're gonna get it." And then when I went in there, and I was on those dreaded headphones.
Right.
I told Mike Bozier, I said, "Oh, that's cool. That was good. I wanted to hear that, but can I hear my playback now?" And he goes, No. That was you. That wasn't the Blessed Death record." I said, "Then that's a take."
Nice.
It fooled me.
Nice. Yeah.
And we
as
we
soon as I
wanted to do
saw
all
it,
that and give everybody a look to each other. And the one guy in the band that smokes weed, he had to be Spicoli. So.
of course. Yeah. I read through the track list and I just said to a friend of mine, I said, this is pure tape trading right here. This is the impeccable taste of these choices. No big four adjacent shit like Cyclone from Belgium. Really? I didn't think anybody else bought that album but me. My God, how about Fighting the Fatal when it goes that when it
you're naming all the good stuff, dude. I love that album. Those guys, I talk to them all the time. All of them are wearing sweaters in their Exodus shirts and sweaters. That's all they wear. I actually here's the thing with me. I don't know if you know this, but I'm not a big Bay Area guy. Never been. Never thought Metallica was good ever. Never liked Kill 'Em All when it came. Thought it was goofy. Thought it was boogie woogie. Thought the drumming was poor. I thought the lead work was crap. Just never was a fan. Slayer, I love up to including Hell Awaits. I'm not a big Rain and Blood guy. I'm really not. I was disappointed that they kind of I'll still say dumbed down from Hell Awaits. Better production. Dave Lombardo's the god of the speed drumming. I'll give him that. Megadeth could not stand. First record I ever returned to the stores was Megadeth's Killing Is My Business. Thought it was goofy, hated his vocals, thought he was like a worse Ted Nugent, crooner.
Yeah.
Anthrax, I love Fistful of Metal. I always say they should have fell off a cliff after that one and landed in a bucket of shit because I couldn't like it when Joey Belladonna came along. Nothing against them, any of those guys. But anyway, so people were like, "Oh, you didn't even do these bands and blah, blah, blah. And where's Slayer and where's this?" We were on plenty of tribute records where we covered Creators, Sodom, Slayer, a lot of those speed bands. I was like, we're trying to go more underground. Who the hell remembers Stone? Who the hell's listening to, for Darkness from Germany, And I was like, this is the stuff we were listening to back then. And I had a lot of people come to me and say, "Oh man, this really does take me back to my high school years." And they saw the high school locker on the back and it was cool. Here's a funny story. So at the end of the record, it was supposed to be a part where I said, well, I did record this. It said, "Hey man, where's Exodus and Megadeth? This is a thrash record, dude. Where are these bands?" And I had Spicoli from the movie. Those guys are fags. You remember that scene where
That's perfect.
I could not get 3 pressing plants to print them.
Oh my God.
Because they thought, "Oh my God, this is 2023. You're outrageous." I'm like, "Look, dude, I don't give a hell about anybody's sexual, preference.
Yeah.
This is for a joke from the movie. Get it?" They would not touch it. They would not touch it at all.
Yeah. Well,
so it didn't make the final thing, but it was hilarious.
We were so into Whiplash that later on, like when they put those demos out, I remember like my friend said, "Is it the 3 Tony lineup?" And I'm like, "It's the 3 Tonys." Yes.
3 Tony lineup.
Had to be the
back when I had hair and I was young, I used to always get compared to Tony Bono, the bass player. Everywhere I go, "Are you Tony Bono from Whiplash?"
Yeah.
Man,
that was
we saw him on the Power and Pain tour. My favorite thrash record of all time is Power and Pain.
It's amazing. It's so Iron Maiden, but it is. I mean, it's perfect speed metal. It's perfect. I love it.
It is. They're so catchy. They're so intense. It's what these other bands people say is that wasn't to me.
Yeah.
I mean, people
and
still
he
say,
looked a little bit like
you don't like to Kill 'Em All.
Who's the guy that sang and played guitar? I always thought he looked a little bit like Mark Farner from Grand Funk.
Tony Portaro.
Yeah. Except with the bullet belt. Yeah.
Tony's pretty old. People are like, "Oh, he's so good on guitar." I'm like, "Dude, he's 10 years older than all of us now." I think he was 32 when it took off. And most bands, Sacrifice was like 21, 22.
Yeah.
This guy was 33, 34. I think he's almost 70 now.
Yeah. No, that's great. Have you seen the documentary on rigor mortis? It's great.
I have.
Oh, it's
fantastic. A damn shame they didn't.
They talk about it. They threw his drums in the lake. Oh my God, it's great.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I was really good friends with Bruce for a long time. I actually reissued on my other label, Old Metal Records. I reissued that CD for the first rigor mortis to him. Added some demos and stuff. Yeah, they were good. They were fun guys.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah.
So how do you decide what material goes to October 31st and Deceased? I mean, is there a rhyme or reason there?
The October, I will say it's 31, no first.
31.
It's deliberately crappy English on purpose because our guitar player that started the band with me is a backwards hillbilly from North Carolina, and I'm a backwards hillbilly from Virginia. So we were like, no, it's not October, it's 31. But
I've been
back
saying it
then,
wrong.
he had plenty of risks. How that happened was he called me. This guy calls me, and I'll do the invitation. Is this King Fowley from Deceased? This is Brian Williams from I'm in a band called Overlord. We got a demo out called Dahmer's Diner. I'd like you to hear it, and I'd like to play some shows with your band. I got your number from a mutual friend, blah, blah, blah. So we talked and talked. This is 1995. We're talking. We both find out we both love the album Uriah Heep, Abominog.
Yeah, and we all love that one.
Yeah, that's my favorite record of all time, just for the record. And he started saying, how come there's nothing like that? I was like, how come there's no heavy metal anymore in America? I was like, nobody plays it at all. I was like, everything now is either grunge or this crap they, whatever the hell that those bands were doing then. And he said, we should get together and do something. So I said, let's do it. He said he played guitar. I said, I played drums, and I wanted to get a singer. I wanted to get a singer like Rick Emmett from Triumph. I wanted to get a real high soaring guy that was like melodic, get maybe even a Lou Graham, where he could hit it, but he was good.
That guy from, remember Winterhawk? The guy from Winterhawk.
Absolutely loved him. Revival, what a record.
Ooh,
Period of change. That's my tune.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That's very Triumph like.
Yeah.
But we were talking, and we got together, and he brought two guys down, and we just started jamming riffs of his. And so after a while, when by the time we recorded an album, we about 97, Deceased was doing Fearless, and it was a heavy metal, like you're asking now. It was a heavy metal kind of like togetherness there. And people were like, well, which riffs do you use? And I'm like, well, I'm just letting Brian, for the most part, write these riffs. And with Deceased, it's this. The difference for me was October 31 Live was a hell of a party band. I mean, crazy as shit on stage. I just wanted to be the drummer. I did not want to sing. They were like, dude, you're the most fun dude up front. You're the, even if you're like Ozzy, you're crazy. I was like, dude, I want a fucking singer. Can I have a singer for once? Can I have somebody like a Rick Emmett or a Dave Meniketti? Somebody that can sing. And they were like, dude, you got to do it. So we actually had two guys help us first. One guy named Chuck, who couldn't sing, but was a fun guy up front. Then we had a guy named Sean Pallotta, who's been on a couple albums. This guy could sing, but he had no presence on stage for the most part. He was kind of just did his job, but he didn't end up wanting to do it. I would have been fine with him. So we played a show, and it was like Halford 78. Okay, it was that good. Wow. There's footage of that if you go on the YouTube from 2000 of October 31 with him singing. And I'm talking perfect. This guy could hit these notes. Yeah. So anyway, we just kind of went down that road doing our own thing. Deceased did their own thing. And what was easy for me is I could write just basically cut with Deceased. It's super, 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 super serious. With October 31, I could be loose. I could just write fun lyrics and do this crap and go on stage and stuff like that. So that's what I liked the best about it. For both bands, we played at Wacken. Now, October 31 actually passed Deceased for a while. Metal Blade picked us up. They signed us, and they brought us to Wacken, and we played to 20,000 people in 2000. It was 4 stages. They always had 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 going, so there was a stage between you. When we played at 5 o'clock, the other band playing was Angel Witch, and we all know that that's a pretty popular and legendary band. We had a crowd there that they did not have at the time, and it blew my mind. And we went over great. And as soon as we were done, of course, the guy that runs Wacken said to me, dude, you're fun as hell. If you ever want to play again, I said, well, dude, I got another band called Deceased, and I would love to play next year. So we came back the next year, and with October 31 and with Deceased, that was the first time I ever fronted either band on stage. That was the first time I ever just sang for Deceased or October 31. And the drummer from October 31 came over and took over drums on Deceased. So we played the next year. We were the first band on the big stage. We played at 9:45 in the morning at Wacken to like 12,000 people on I think it was a Saturday morning or a Friday morning. There was people, I remember people hung over from the night before. They're like, should have been here for the pre-show with Crocus last night. And they opened up the doors, and I remember seeing LG, rest in peace, from Entombed. He was laid out, but he was like, I was like, look, there's LG passed out in the fucking field. It was there was a shootout in there, like a Clint Eastwood movie, That's they opened up this big gate, and there was all these people passed out from the night before.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, basically with the riffs as we moved on, it was easy to separate them. There was always riffs to be had, and like I said, Mike does most of the riffs for Deceased. I left him be, and October just at our own pace. I do want to say, sadly, October 31, we're doing a farewell record. Brian, our guitar player, who's the funnest, greatest live guitarist I ever played with, he's got Parkinson's disease
Oh,
severely.
jeez. Well,
And it hit
that's
him
terrible.
real hard
Sorry to hear
about
that.
3 years ago, and he just can't do it anymore. It really got him. He is 60 years old now, and it just ravaged him. So we're gonna do a farewell record. It's called Ye Old Peril. We're gonna do it for Hell's Headbanger. We're working on it now, and he's just gonna play some leads on it. He can't even probably do some rhythms, but we need to say bye. We never got to do a farewell show. That sucks. We had so many ideas you wouldn't believe. We were gonna have this big Dave Mustaine pinata that I beat to death, and all of his stupid sayings came out of it.
Well,
But
what
that's
about
kinda where it stands for the band.
that best of Metal Blade thing you did with October? I mean, that's almost as cool as the Thrash
That was
Times.
fun. Only problem with that one was, man, there was a period of about, I'd say, 10 months where I just could not come unhorsed. And when we recorded that, I could not get my voice to be where I want it to be. Most people say, I don't hear it. I hear it. I feel it. I don't like it. My singing on it. But I love doing it. Again, we went underground. They're like, where's all the big bands? And I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
Does anybody need to hear Overkill on this? You know, there's so deep cuts that we wanted to do.
Right. Did you
That
read
was fun.
did you
October
read
31, Metal Massacre.
Did you read Brian Slagle's book?
I did. There's a new book, I guess, a second book that I have not read. It was too short and not that deep, I thought. Did you like it?
Well, I liked things like that Eddie Vedder was secretly a Fates Warning fan, but they had to usher him. That's the kind of bullshit that I fucking hated
God.
about grunge, is that you had to secretly like bands. I mean, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I know.
That
I
stuff
get
I
what you're
found
saying.
interesting, Don't tell anybody, but I like Fates Warning. What?
I know, right?
Like that alone
Like
was
what you
gonna
like.
ruin his image.
Yeah, like what you like. Exactly.
So should we do our game?
Why don't we do our game? This should be fun.
All right. So we do a game. You're going to get 5 random questions. So I have questions before me between 1 and 100. So I want you to pick 5 numbers.
16, 38, 39, 1, and 84.
Okay.
All right. Number 16. Have you ever walked out on a job?
As it walked out, considered, I worked at the Waxy Maxies when I was 15 years old. I wanted some weed. This guy had a killer ounce of weed. I'd only been working there about 3 weeks. There was a Frank Sinatra box set records thing. It was about $152. Somebody came in and bought it. It was sitting up on the counter. This lady who was a lesbian worked there, named Robin. She went on her lunch break. She came back. She said, "Where's the tape for the Frank Sinatra? I see it's sold." I said, "I don't know. I didn't sell it." She said, "You're the only one working the register." So she knew I took the money, and I was fired or walked out from there. I've never said, "Fuck this, I'm leaving" from a job ever.
This place is like Waxy Max's and Sam Goody. I remember going in there and being like, they don't even care about making money from the music. They're selling like the bobbleheads and T-shirts and shit. That's all they care about.
Yeah, it did become that for sure. Our Penguin Feather, who had all the head shop in the back,
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
All right. Number 38. Have you ever met a celebrity? Who and how did it go?
I've met a lot of celebrities. I've through the years going to conventions, or the very first celebrity I ever met was Scott Baio.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I was 12 years old. It was the World of Wheels at the DC Armory in Washington, DC.
Okay.
He was there. It was also the Playboy Honey. So I met them too, including a couple gals that ended up in the Legs video for ZZ Top.
Okay.
Met Batman and Robin. All of them were nice. I had a Kiss Destroyer iron on with Scott Baio. He's like, "Oh, I love Kiss. It's cool." The coolest one I ever met, the one I wanted to meet the most, probably. Well, I met Steve Harris from Iron Maiden.
Oh wow.
He was super cool. He went out and did his British Lions tour right before COVID hit up here in Lancaster, and my wife said, "You got to go. He's my idol of all idols. He looks the same, band's the same. He's the same guy he was 40 years ago." I love that about him. I went up there. everybody kept saying, he's signing stuff at the end of the night, but I kept hearing that show, he had to be in New York for the next show at 4 a.m. They didn't finish till 1:15 in the morning. Okay. It was one of those nights where wasn't so cold out, but they had the heat on because it was winter. It was January. So the room was extremely hot. I watched this man play almost a 2-hour set with British Lions at a club that held 125 people. And when it was over, I watched this man take his own bass cabinet. They were talking about $150 million band. Take his own bass cabinet, wheel it off the stage, all that. And then they said, he's not going to come out, man. He's not going to come out. He's got to go to New York. And then this guy said, don't you dare leave. He's coming out. He's definitely coming out. And then this guy got up on the bar and said, Steve is going to sign 2 pieces of material for everybody in here. No charge. Please line up accordingly. He needs to be somewhere, but he's not going to forget the quote unquote in British slang, the punters. I got in line. I walked up to him. I said, man, I've loved Iron Maiden since I was skinny, dude. And he laughed. He was super cool. That was one of my favorites. My other favorite was my crush as a kid was Cheryl Ladd from the Charlie's Angels show. I met her and we talked for about 20 minutes, got some great pictures with her. Met her a few years ago up in New Jersey at this convention. She was actually not supposed to come out for 2 more hours, but I looked over and I said, holy fuck, there's Cheryl Ladd. And my wife was laughing the whole time because Tony Danza was there, and wifey likes Tony Danza, but Tony Danza ended up looking like a bag of shit that day for whatever reason. So I'm like, Cheryl Ladd's looking great. She was 67 years old when I met her, and she came over and she said, "Oh, that's so great." And I started telling her how I had a Charlie's Angels pinball machine in my house and all this, and she was super cool. So that was my, that made me know what boobies were when I was a little boy. You know?
I always thought the most interesting thing about these huge bands like Maiden and Joe Elliott from Def Leppard, they all tell you, well, we wanted to be soccer players. Rock and roll was our backup plan. And I'm just like, what? Soccer.
Exactly.
I'm American. I don't give a shit about
that
soccer.
Whole day was at the bar watching soccer before they played the whole day. And we left them alone. I wasn't going to go bother a man eating his lunch, drinking his beer and watching his soccer. That ain't right.
Yeah, it's like a head scratcher. I'm just, the guys from UFO, same thing. Well, if we can't be soccer players,
Yeah, I can't see Pete Way being a soccer player.
No. 39. What is something that normal people do that is actually pretty weird?
Normal people do.
Normal people.
I've never understood yawning. For me, it's bizarre. It's like someone will start yawning and everybody's yawning, and we might even start yawning now talking about it.
Right.
I don't understand that. I read about it. I Google about it. It's just one of those things. Other people have said this too, but I don't understand yawning. I don't understand what it is. You can look it up. You can find 50 different reasons for why we yawn from 50 different sources. That's odd to me. How this guy will yawn, and then the dog will yawn, or the dog will yawn.
I know, it's crazy. I know.
Now you keep that in the back of your mind for going forward, and next time you're yawning and stuff, remember what the guy King said that day, and see if I'm right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Number 1, what outfit have you worn in the past that you would not wear today?
I don't think there is one. I'm still as goofy as ever. I'm wearing an HR Puffin Stuff shirt right now.
I was going to point that out. Yeah.
I was just at my car insurance earlier, and she's like, "You're showing your age with that shirt on." I said, "You're showing good taste, knowing what it is." And so I gave them a little questionnaire, her and the other guy in there. I said, "Name me 4 other Sid and Marty Krofft shows." They came up with Land of the Lost. That's where they stopped. I said, "You telling me nobody here remembers Sigmund the Sea Monster?" And I started telling Electro Woman and Dinah Girl and Dr. Shrinker and the Far Out Space Vets with Bob Denver of Gilligan's Island fame. And they're like, "Dude, you're weird as shit. Get the hell out of our building." But no, there's nothing I wouldn't wear. I don't think. I mean, no, I'm as goofy as hell.
I remember that it was a big deal. My mom would have, they would announce our birthdays on Captain Chesapeake when I was a boy.
Oh, I love that. Remember Two Captain Bells, Chesapeake? It's time for Marine Boy.
Exactly right.
I know Captain Chesapeake. That was WBFF 45.
WBFF, yeah.
And then it was Ghost Host as well.
Yeah,
I know those channels, man. We got that back when there was only 3 channels. And you went to the other one to find 20 and 22, Sesame Place, Electric Company, 26, and
those were the ones where you really had to mess with the antenna to get.
Oh yeah, the black and white got it perfect though. And then there was a thing called FMTV, which was it was something you had to pay for. But if you turned your TV just the right way on Saturday night after 11, you might get a booby.
Oh my God.
I used to watch, I'd be looking at this crap and like, in praise of older women, 1977, Karen Black. And I'm like, that's a booby movie. I know that's I turned the TV and you shake it and do all this. And by the time you found it, you missed it. But that's it.
It's great. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. Yeah.
Fun
I love
times.
it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. 84. Would you rather explore the ocean or space?
Space. Absolutely space. I've never been an ocean guy, and I'm extremely not one now since our drummer drowned in the ocean a few years ago.
Yeah.
I've never been a beach guy. I love the boardwalk. I love the haunted house, all that kind of stuff, but I've never been into the water at all. Space, I'm not big on space, but I would definitely, that's another thing. It's what beyond our parallels, what the hell is there? Though the bottom of the ocean is probably pretty goddamn creepy
Oh, yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I'm always, when I'm in the ocean, I'm like, is something about to eat me? You know, it's always that.
Oh, absolutely. You know,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
and you always hear the Jaws music. Everybody does. I
Oh,
even hear
yeah.
that if I'm sitting on the toilet.
I love it. Well, we'll be very excited to, when do you think the new album will be out? Do you have any idea or?
We've written about 25 minutes of it. It's going to be about 50. So we're probably going to finish the year writing it. I'm thinking we're going to record it around April, June, because it's going to take a little process to get everything together and everything. Amos is going to play drums on it. He lives in Atlanta. He's our live drummer. I still write everything on drums, but I'm beat up. I don't know if you guys know, but in 2004, I had a stroke and my whole left side got fucked up.
I remember
So I
reading
did
about
play
that,
drums on one album after all that, the Surreal Overdose, just to prove I could still do it. But it's going to take time to show people. We're going to demo it as the guys that write it. We're going to demo it, and we're going to get everybody together. It's going to be a pretty damn cool. I'm hoping it's going to be as good as I'm thinking in my mind. We're thinking a little bit outside the box. We're going to make it a little bit more freaky than usual. Maybe a little bit of Kiss the Elder, weirdness to it in there. Maybe. I've already got dibs on the purple headband like Paul would wear.
Yeah,
so,
like Paul. Yeah.
like Paul would wear. But yeah, other than that, we got 4 shows coming up. We're actually playing in DC at a place called the Songbird. Are you guys familiar with that?
Oh, yeah. I know
Uh-huh.
it is. Yep.
We're playing down there. It's on a Thursday. It's August 10th. We're playing with our buddies Abominog and that band. I can't say the first name that they played the other day. Something Grind was starts with an E.
Escuela Ground. Escuela Ground.
Grind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
The
yeah,
singer's
they're
like
playing with us.
Yeah. The
And then we're
singer's like
going
90
into
pounds.
Ohio to play with Nunslaughter. Then we're going into Indiana to play with Mortician and a band called Profanatica. And we got another show in Pittsburgh. Then in September is super busy. We got we're going into Mexico to do a festival with Autopsy, Dark Tranquility,
Wow.
Grave, Paradise Lost,
Wow.
Satan, bands
Yeah.
like that. And then we're planning a tour, which was in the early stages. I'll leave it at that through
Yeah.
about September. So that whole month's going to throw the loop on writing the rest of the record at some point, but we're busy now doing that. But we've got about
Yeah.
25 minutes of music. It's 100% Deceased. It will be worth the wait. We're never going to give anybody less than what we feel is the best we can be.
Yeah. How great is Satan still? I mean, anybody who I find who likes that new Metallica shit, I'm like, have you heard Satan? I mean, here is a band that has been carrying the flag and still kicks ass. Come
They've
on.
never sucked. I just saw them in Philly like 6 weeks ago, and they were unbelievable.
They're
I mean,
great.
Brian Ross' voice is perfect.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
He's
And I
still
loved
got it.
all
He
that
was
shit. I
super
loved
cool.
Pariah and
Yeah, me too.
all that stuff when they went thrash. Pariah. And what was the other one? Christ, they had 2 names. Blind Fury, all that shit. I love.
Oh yeah, Blind Fury, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a legend. When they
Yeah.
came through here, it was great. We got to talk to him for a minute, and just nice as hell, and the real deal. I wish more bands were still that heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I miss heavy metal. A lot of the new bands that are out there, I don't want to use the word, but I guess I got to use the word tender. It's a lot of it's a lot of softy stuff now.
Well, do you know
I'm hearing.
John from Hammers of Misfortune? You know him?
Yeah.
John? Yeah. We interviewed him a few months ago, and he had the best. We were talking about Scalzi from Slough-Fag. You know Scalzi from Slough-Fag, right?
Yeah.
Scalzi makes fun of Manowar, and he was talking about how American responses to heavy metal are always ironic, and we got to be funny, and whereas in Germany and these other places, there is no irony. And he's like, do we
Right.
always have to be the snarky Americans? Can't we just say we love Manowar because it's good heavy metal? Can't let them enjoy their Manowar. And I thought that was very cool. Yeah.
I love old Manowar. They lost me somewhere when it turned into a Walt Disney
Well,
sound.
yeah.
Yeah, wow.
But I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, there was a thing, DC 101 used to be a real radio station.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
When I was a kid, and they used to have this thing called Monday Midnight Metal. Okay. Every Monday at midnight, they played not one, but the entire album by a band. And this is where I picked up on, I'll give you a quick couple. Anvil Metal on Metal in its entirety was played there. Okay. Sound Barrier, Total Control, the all black band back then. Heaven, the very first Heaven Bent record was on there. Then it got into deeper stuff like the Rods was on there. And, Baron Rojo from Spain and Tank. And stuff.
Volume and
Some weeks
Brutal.
you get like Def Leppard or Ozzy, but they really dug deep when it came to stuff like that. And one week they said Manowar, battle hymns, and I always recorded them. And that came on. I was like, I don't know who the hell this is, but I love this. And I remember you had to guess the titles of the songs because they never gave you the titles. And I don't know why I did this because it's so obvious. But the song Manowar, I wrote on my thing Matahor. I was like, they're singing Matahor, and I was like, that's fucking Manowar. How stupid am I? You know, for years.
I remember that about DC 101. Yeah, I remember I was a huge King's X fan when they had first come out. I thought they were just the greatest band. And they played a King's X song on DC 101 in like 1990. And I was like, they've made it. That's it. They're going to be the biggest band ever.
They did stay pretty big.
And of course they weren't, but you know, I thought that was the end. So,
yeah, that was a good station. That was what I grew up with. All that. Even 98 Rock used to be good. They used to have that hour of metal, and they played the deep Maiden cuts. You could get, Children of the Damned on there or something.
Yeah.
Now I come down through there.
I would listen to Metal Shop. Remember Metal Shop?
Yeah, you mean Metal Shop?
Yeah, and it was Dee Snider's brother that did that show. Yeah.
It was fun, but I mean, that's when I go down there now and I hear these stations. I'm like, you talk about corporate bullshit. It just sucks. I'll play that 100 The Bay, or I guess that's like a local thing over there in Baltimore area. Right. And once in a while, I might hear something a little deep cut, like I've heard Stone Blue from Foghat one day. I was like, that's a little bit off kilter. Up here, you hear nothing. You hear the same 10 songs every day. Yeah. You'll hear Bon Jovi, you'll hear Elton John, you'll hear Billy Joel, you'll hear Pink Floyd and Queen repeatedly. That's hourly. And I'm not even saying like different songs. They'll literally play Bohemian Rhapsody 6 times a day here.
I know, it's crazy. I know.
It's awful. But I mean, there's everything else in the world and all this crap around me. I got my own tunes, but I still like to jam the radio. It's just like everybody likes to flip the TV. You got 200 stations and you kind of enjoy flipping still.
Yeah.
I know I do.
I was telling Stace, I remember one time for work, I went in this machine shop and they had like this ancient radio, the knobs were broken off and it just played classic rock all day. And I thought, I wish it was that simple for me. I wish I could be okay with just hearing Pink Floyd and Ozzy all day, but I can't.
We got a grocery store up here we shop at. Sometimes they play the best tunes in town. I'm in there, they're playing Boys Are Back in Town, they're playing April Wine. They're playing even stuff like, I'll hear stuff like Shooting Star. Remember them?
Yeah, I heard I was in the grocery store the other day and they played Snortin' Whiskey by Pat Travers. I was like, holy shit.
She's probably got the same DJ as ours, man. It's ShopRite up here. No, it's not. It's Weiss that does it.
Right. I think it was Weiss here.
They just came out with that AI DJ on Spotify. So we tried it and Mark put it on. And the first thing the guy said was, apparently metal is your thing. I was like, well, he's got
he goes, it's scary accurate. He goes, we're going to start off this morning with some Burzum. And I was like, I don't think any DJ has ever said that. Yeah.
That is bizarre. Hey, that's cool. What do they say for me? I'd be on there. I'm the weird guy. I'll play 1 minute, I'll have Pat Benatar, then I'll be playing, something outrageous.
Yeah.
I love it though. I mean, music is music. I love it. That's my life. It saved me. I stayed away from all the other shit since I was a kid, and it's what we do. Great. And like I said at the show the other day, it's all about fun. I had to go off at that show. I don't know if you guys heard me when I was talking about the VIP passes between songs. Do you remember that?
I think I missed that. What was it?
I basically was saying, anybody here that wants to sell fucking $150, sit down with me. I said, you're fucking too big for your britches. Bullshit. I said, this is fucking underground. Go hang out with the Stones, Kiss, these big bands that do that shit, because we don't need that shit. I saw that someone was talking about $150 to meet dying fetus, and I was like,
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
be kidding me, dude.
I say what, like my equivalent of that was I remember back in the 90s, I wrote a review for Load when Metallica put Load out because I said this is the most offensive back cover of an album ever because they're all pimped up smoking cigars. And like,
Yeah.
what's the caption? We will not be signing autographs today. We are no longer your band. We're everyone's band. I mean, what the fuck? Like
Yep.
I remember that. Like that
Oh
was
yeah, I
the
remember they said
perfect picture.
he said, oh, I mean, one of them said, oh, this is crazy. We came for the band photo. We noticed everybody in the band had cut their hair on the same day, like as if that wasn't calculated, you know, like we're supposed to believe that.
Right.
Christ.
Yeah. We are no longer your band. Thank you very much. Yeah.
They're that band. I've never liked their music, but I love their home videos they put out. That's some kind of monster one where they're all flipping around flip flops the whole time and pointing at each other. And Lars's dad, I'm like, this is better than Spinal Tap, dude.
It is. It's
I
like
love
Spinal
that.
Tap, but nobody told the band. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, a whole that other one, The Year in the Life of Metallica. I was like, this fucker sat here for 1 year piecing together the drum parts that are so easy to play for that Black record. And I'm like, he literally sat for 1 year to piece those parts together. Like, give me take 17 here for that roll.
Yeah.
37 over here, and I was like, this really happened. This really happened. Sure, they sold all these records and they're got movie theaters in their houses and shit, but that's lame, dude. That's lame.
Yeah, like you said, Kill 'Em All. I want Kill 'Em All. You could tell all those crazy fills. That's him not being able to play a straight beat. I mean, that's him. You know that they're all cover ups. Yep. Somebody must have gone crazy with gaffer tape making that record. I mean, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. I've noticed that. Somebody else that's famous for doing that, which most people don't see, and they think he's I don't have nothing against him. He's a super nice guy. I met him, but Vinny Appice, he's famous for it. He can't get through a whole. He can't do it. He's always coming to the snare roll. Always. I tell people, they're like, what are you talking about? I was actually at that Sabbath at the Radio City Hall when they was Heaven and Hell. Remember that they put out?
Oh yeah.
He must have fucked up 3 songs. Geezer Butler was fucking on him. They obviously cut all that on the DVD to make it look it's all there. God. He was fucking up, and Geezer was like, "You're fucking up, dude."
Wow. He goes all the way back to what, Blue Cheer?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right, sir. Well, I will let you go. Thanks so much. We could go on for probably all night, but I really appreciate it.
I tell you what, you guys are smart as the whip, man. I love that. Deep cuts. When you start busting out Fighting the Fatal from Cyclone, I knew we were going to have a good interview.
All right, so I'm going to admit this to the public. I do have a copy of REO. You get what you play for on vinyl. All right,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I have.
I got High Infidelity record on the wall up in the
I like Wild Turkey Trot. That's mine.
I got nothing against REO. Isn't that? It's just stop picking. It's look at the Thrash Times behind you. Stop picking the obvious, man.
Right.
There's more to life than Paranoid and Iron Man, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. So.
The Sounds of Decay!
Okay, Sounds of Decay time. Sounds of Decay 1 is Phlebotomize. The new album's called Clouds of Confusion. They're Dutch. The Dutch veterans return with the 4th full-length album spanning a career that goes all the way back to the original 1989 formation. It's a 6-piece, and they took a long hiatus following 97's Sky Contact album, but they reconvened in 2013, which explains why they have a relatively short discography. But this new album, Clouds of Confusion, is a highly engaging slab of avant death with incredible musicianship from everybody involved. There's an abundance of clean piano segments that give way to many of the songs. It gives it a classy, majestic vibe. It's a deftly executed death metal record that keeps the listener guessing with all manner of genre cross-pollinations, and the album's 45-minute runtime does not overstay its welcome.
You know, I love me some mixed media.
You got some blend here, yeah.
Guitarist Dennis Bolderman and Tis Van Sluterjuurs.
Oh, you sure he's Dutch? Is he the Gerskin? Yeah, is he Dutch? Are you sure?
Well, however you say their names, they prove masterful at coaxing memorable, hook-driven guitar harmonies, particularly in the tracks like Destined to be Killed and Pillar of Fire.
I like that, yeah.
The marriage of clean piano and super distorted guitar in Dawns of Simplicity is remarkable.
Yeah.
Lyrics, schematic, and even romantic. So check that out. About a minute in, the track takes off in a thrashy harmonized melody in the vein of early In Flames. Love me some In Flames.
Oh, yeah.
Then they pull out a church organ and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. And just when we were putting the kids to bed, a Unity Your Messiah Preclaim starts off with about 20 seconds of pure, unadulterated jazz before the twin guitars swell to light.
Yeah, I was actually like got a little concerned. It was like I was like, is this what we got? Anyway.
Maybe Julie London coming in?
Yeah. It's catchy, heavy, grandiose as fuck. Graybeards aside, these guys haven't lost a step at all. So let's play a song. This is Dawn of Simplicity. You better turn left, not right.
He wants the podcast.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 2, Mental Cruelty, Zwielicht. Why does this band remind me of my ex-wife? For some reason? Mental Cruelty. At any rate, Zwielicht, which is German for Twilight, and I didn't even have to check. It's their fourth full length from this Avant Folk Symphonic Deathcore 5-piece. That's a fucking mouthful right there. Since their formation in 2014. Expect the unexpected here. This is another example of cross-pollinations that should not work, but somehow they get the job done. It's an interesting juxtaposition of textures, praised grindcore-esque blasts of drummer Danny Strasser, and the bedazzled pomp of the symphonic overlays. Most of the songs explore a dark tremolo-picked guitar style that's reminiscent of black metal, with vocalist Lucas Nicolai shifting deftly from leonine roars to paint-peeling shrieks in every track.
The deathcore tag has me a little puzzled here.
Yeah.
Since the oodles of layered guitar fills and melodic solos from the tandem of Marvin Kessler and Nahu Lozano.
Yeah, people throw core around.
Yeah.
To me, core means no solos, but whatever. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, Forgotten Kings is a great example, as is the gorgeous finger-picked over-style intro to Nautilus. Symphony of a Dying Star is a good example of Mental Cruelty's unlikely marriage of pastoral pageantry and maniacal death metal, even sneaking in an impressive clean vocal. Shh, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not one for OSDM purists, but this band covers a lot of territory in a convincing way. Plus, that cover art is gorgeous.
I love it, yeah.
All right. So despite the fact I don't think this band has, let's call it, zero chance of landing a halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
But Mental Cruelty, you are just weird enough to get yourself signed to Century Media.
Yeah.
So take a moment to add Zwilight to your ever-expanding playlist.
Absolutely. All right, so let's play a song. This is Forgotten Kings. Okay, Sounds of Decay 3. I really like this band. The Bleeding. The album just dropped. It's called Monocrator.
Seen a lot of reviews say this is the surprise of the summer.
It's awesome. There are at least half a dozen bands using The Bleeding as their moniker, according to Metal Archives. But most of them haven't done anything new, and I could pretty much guarantee that none of them have the flair for neck-snapping death metal riffs that these guys wield. Monocrator is the third full-length from this cheeky London four-piece since their formation in 2010, and it is an absolute drop-the-needle treasure for fans of hooky barking downstrokes and lyrical guitar solos. 8 songs spanning 30 minutes, not a single snare pop wasted. Greek guitarist Tazos proves to be a true Svengali at mosh-inducing songcraft built on frequent nods to old-school thrash.
There is apparently a new force in horror-obsessed death metal, and the Bleeding are here to claim a new victims post-haste, possibly with a chainsaw. The raspy style and occasional syncopation with Tazos, and by vocalist Jamie Stungo, is equally impressive. Think Deceased, maybe Ghoul without the pillowcase.
Yeah.
Take one listen to the Angel of Death style riff that kicks off Chemical Lobotomy and try not to get sucked into this record.
I dare you. I hereby dare you. The mid-pace riffs are absolutely lethal, like the one that kicks off Monocrator, or the pit churner that is the centerpiece of Mutation Chamber. It's obvious these guys have studied the best thrash of the 80s, the best death metal of the 90s, and have effectively swirled them together into a masterpiece for 2023. Screams of Torment may be the first death metal song in years I've spun repeatedly just to hear the guitar solo. I'm telling you, about 3 minutes in, Tazos backs into an absolute ripper. Anyway, enough of my gushing, our gushing. Let's get on board with the bleeding and, make it really sore. So let's play Mutation Chamber.
Love that one.
Well. We made it through. We talked about antiques a lot.
We talked about how you can save dead birdies in your yard, too, like us.
Talked about arm wrestling with Corpse Grinder. Talked about stealing CDs and long boxes. I stole 8 tracks.
And horror movies.
I'm gonna have to change I'm gonna start lying and saying that I stole CDs, because when I say I stole 8 tracks, I sound older than fuck. We talked about the Twilight Zone.
And being obsolete.
Out of my way, you big ape. Strange internships.
And new disses to call people that they won't know what to do with.
If I see any bands called Skank Fragment, I'm suing your asses. So,
You can have it.
all right.
Have it.
All right.
Just give us credit.
This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to the one and only King Foley for such a great interview. Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Gustav Eward from Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme, courtesy of Steve Rathbone from Lair of the Minotaur. Season 3 artwork by none other than KC Angel. Decay bands, check them out. Lobotomized, The Bleeding, Mental Cruelty. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
Earmuffs!
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.